You're listening to the Coach Hodge and Banks Show on the Coaching Culture in Athletics Radio Broadcast Network. Sit back and enjoy the show. The views and opinions discussed in this podcast aren't necessarily the opinion of the host or Coach Hodge and Banks Show on the Coaching and Culture Athletics Network.
All right. Hey, welcome to a late night, Wednesday night evening with Coach Hodges and Coach Banks. We got Chip Baker. He says, go get it. You know what, buddy? We're going to go get it tonight. If anyone has any questions whatsoever for Coach Hodges or myself, be sure to, put that in the chat. It's always fun, when we get together. But, it seems like, though, Coach Hodges, it's always after 10 p.m., man.
Hey, all of your kids are out of the house, man. Mine, I've got the 3-year-old and the 1-year-old. So it's a matter of, I'm lucky tonight because Lennox didn't take a nap today, so he was super tired. So hopefully, knock on wood, hopefully he sleeps all night.
Absolutely. For all the listeners, either on Periscope or, over in Facebook land, tonight we're talking to Coach Hodges. Coach Hodges and I are actually collaborating on a book. It's called Cancer to Champion, or at least we think it's going to be titled that. Coach, talk about what it's been like trying to collaborate and get all these things done. And also tonight, we really want you to shoot out questions that you might want answered in that particular book or even tonight.
I don't know. I mean, I think, you and I have tried to get together on this for quite some time, and we've built up some steam, especially now with having to stay at home. I think we've picked up even more steam and gotten some good stuff down to get writing it. I don't know if, I've known you a long time. I don't know if I picked the right guy or not, but because who knows what's going to end up getting maybe inserted into the book that we might not want in there, but it's been fun, and I look forward to getting that out there, and not so much for myself, but you and I have talked about this, that hopefully to just inspire people and show them that bad things do happen to people, and that you can't overcome them. So I think I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it is going to be a lot of fun, and eventually we will get this book done. Some coaches out there, saying that this needed to be earlier. I apologize. On Wednesday nights, this is about the only time that Coach Hodges and I could collaborate and get it done. But I'll have Coach Hodges on, the Coach Show, panel, on Sunday nights here in the near future, so we can catch a lot of the coaches a little bit later. There's Coach Doherty. Coach Doherty, if you want to join, buddy, I have an invite in our Facebook chat. So if you want to join, feel free. Now, Coach, you talk about the trials and tribulations when it comes to for that, you've had a plethora of them over your life, right? I mean, we've talked about them, but what do you think is the most difficult question to answer here? Is it the defeat, finding out that you had cancer at a young age when you're playing baseball? Is that aspect where it was so hard to have kids, or is it that aspect that sometimes this state championship or getting back to a fourth straight state tournament bid and potentially a 3A championship?
We hope it's a fourth straight. Hopefully we get to play some baseball this summer, but that's all on hold, obviously. They were all tough. I mean, probably, though, yes, hearing the words you have cancer and having to fight through that and go through the treatments and all that stuff is very difficult. But, I was young and probably pretty naive. I'm not going to say dumb because I'm not dumb, Chuck, but
well, the jury's still out, man. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. But no, I think just being young and naive and it's still scary, but probably one of the hardest things to be told was that you wouldn't be able to have kids. And to be able to overcome both of those of, fighting and beating cancer, and being a 20-year cancer survivor just this past March. And then also now having 2 beautiful kids is, pretty amazing stuff that, when you were told that you weren't going to be able to do those things, to now be able to hold them every day and, really just be a father. That's the greatest thing in the world, I think.
There's nothing like it. I can remember the Raging Mad Bull, Coach Hodges, when we used to coach freshman football way back in the day. And, I remember distinctly there was one time that I didn't realize that Coach Hodges could kick a trash can 30 feet in the air,
Well, hey, it was either kick you because the defense probably kept allowing touchdowns or kick the trash can. No, I know. And like I said, I've talked about this plenty of times. I came straight from, working with college athletes, being a coach in the college level of baseball, who now I'm at the high school level. And, you had to really learn. And it helped me. It helped me be a better coach and learn some things. And I definitely, I do have a short fuse, unfortunately, but I'm trying to control that a little bit better and find ways to take my anger out elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, he is a little bit rough around the edges, but man, did we had a great time coaching together. Way back in the Centerville days, and I remember it was a Week 9 game, and one of our star, I think it was receiver and safety, was thrown up beside the goalposts. I remember that, right? I think that was clipboard.
I don't know about that one. You remember? I don't know. Did you just jot this stuff down? Because I don't remember some of the stuff. I have broken a clipboard or two in my day, and I'm not proud of it, obviously.
No. I was talking about Gonerman. Remember, we called Gonerman clipboard.
Oh yes. That's right.
Oh my goodness! Now, what is you look back at the struggles of having kids, but and I know that we've talked about this time and time again. And folks, if you have a question, shoot one our way. It's pretty much open forum. Open. I can't do open lines yet because I don't have this sophistication of being able to run that upper technology, right? So anyway, so you have a child. Now you're seeing things differently as a coach, because when you were a coach without kids, do you think you were a little bit hotter or a shorter fuse at that point, or do you think you still have that short fuse?
I still have that short fuse, but I think that I do ask some of those umpires, but no, you and I have talked about this too, and I've talked about this a lot of times. When our baby girl was born, Amelia, back in 16, it puts a lot more things in perspective, those wins and losses and that kind of stuff. And, win or lose, I'm getting to come home and hold her. And, I think it takes some pressure off too, as far as, you don't have to live up to something that all you have to worry about is living up to being a great dad and a husband. And so I think that really affected me greatly. And I think that the other thing it did was it showed the team. I was always talking to them about, family, and you are my family and this and that. And you are my kids, because we don't have kids. But then when we do have Amelia and Lennox, then later that, they shared that with me, and it just brought the team so much closer. And it's about that culture and that bond. So it's changed me, especially the baby girl. That definitely changed me, and I'm glad we had a girl first. So
okay, so I have to put this up there. It's really funny.
I'm wearing my hat. Huh?
Okay, so
too much glare.
Anyway, I want to know how you pull that fast one where you're singing in Miami and now you're a family man. I just don't get it.
You can never take it out of the singer out of the guy, man. when people need you, you got to go.
Yeah. Now, I understand your passion. I understand your ambition and all that sort of stuff. But you're wanting to blossom out there to share your story, obviously, with the world, and I think that's super important, and it's an important story to tell. But if you were to, what more do you want to accomplish? As you look at maybe even getting past outside of coaching, and we talked about it, and you had to explain what you're going to school for.
Well, I've not going yet, but
Okay,
I've thought about going into neuro-linguistic performing. I've got my certification as a mental performance coach. I got that back in January through Brian Kane. That I'm sure everybody's well aware of who Brian Kane is. He's the leading mental performance mastery coach for college, professional sports, individuals, whatever you may have. So I was very lucky to get in contact with him and some people that I know with him that got me in that direction, and it's been fun. I mean, I'm really kind of in the infant stages of that, but definitely wanting to venture out and do some stuff like that just to help more people and make that impact and hopefully leave a legacy for my family for years to come, and maybe open some things up flexibility wise for my schedule to just be home more.
I tried to comment, and Facebook it worked. We are taking questions. If you have them, shoot them here. And on Periscope, it says I'm spam. I don't get it.
Well, probably because they know you've eaten enough of that in your life.
I don't eat spam, man. It's one of those things. Now, you're wearing the Chicago stuff, and I appreciate that because I'm a huge Cubs fan. Do you think we're going to have a Major League Baseball season?
Oh, man. I hope so. I mean, I think they're going to try everything they can to try and get back to some normalcy. It changes every day, man. I mean, you read stuff, you hear stuff on the news, and honestly, I'm not a big news guy. I never really have been, and so I try to limit the time I spend looking at the news that's not going to affect me, and obviously this is affecting me. And millions and millions of people. But I think that you hear something new every day, that there's some positives, and then, the next day it's a negative. So you don't know. I mean, I think the biggest thing is I hope that people, especially athletes, because athletes are different cats, in the sense of the stardom, a little bit, and the stars, not all of them, but some egos, and hopefully they realize that things can be taken from them so quickly. And that's something that we always teach to our guys, talk to our guys about is, you never play every play like it's your last. You never know when it might be. And, here it is, here as a high school baseball coach, we might not have a summer baseball season this year to be able to have those seniors play. So, their last game was back in July up at Principal Park last year in a pretty good thumping. So, you don't want them to have the memories of that, and they want to go out and do that. So I think MLB will try and figure something out. I really do. I think they could do things with no fans, because I think they're a big enough revenue that you're going to get the TV support, the radio support, that kind of stuff. So I think that, and anymore now with the technology with internet and live streaming, I think that'll help things as well.
So how are you holding up, over this? I know the players, there's a lot of anxiety out there, as far as the unknowns. But how are you holding up, and what are you doing to keep your head right, especially, because of all the unknowns?
It's out of our control. 5 years ago, I probably would have been a complete mess trying to figure it out, because that was, that's what I lived for, and I still do. I still live for it. But you start to mature, and you learn things, and how to cope with different things. And I think that I'm looking at it as, I want to play. Obviously, I love the game. I love coaching, and I love being around the guys. But I also, embrace the reality that we might not play, and that's just more time I have with my family. And so, that's the way I'm looking at it. And I know some guys reach out to me every day, every other day or so, and kind of ask me different things about, hey, you think we're going to play? I don't know. I mean, I hope so. I mean, I hope we're out there in at least a month or two, at least practicing and kind of getting going. But I'm just telling them I kind of touch base with them every now and then through text message, or we have a Snapchat group that we stay connected with that, I just tell them stay sharp. You can do things on your own to be ready. And I'm hoping they're doing that. I mean, we got a good group of guys that I think are very committed and we'll be ready whenever the time comes, if it does.
And you look at your story and you look at how much adversity that you went over, and sometimes we as coaches, we see baseball as life, whereas it's not really life, but it's about building, these positive experiences for our players and for us, I guess, as a coaching family, and I think sometimes we lose touch with those aspects. Agree or disagree?
I think, yeah. I mean, I agree somewhat. I think that, and I learned a long time ago that it doesn't matter how many games you win. People aren't going to remember that you won a state championship in 2018, other than probably the guys, hopefully the guys on the team. But and then the families and this and that, and when you're just sitting around talking. But for the most part, when I go and talk to somebody, I'm not introducing myself as, hey, I'm Ryan Hodges, a state championship baseball coach. I'm introducing them as me, and I don't want them to get any kind of I don't want to lead with that, because that's not me. It's not egotistical. It's nothing like that. So I mean, I want them to judge me on who I am, character-wise, beyond baseball field or whatever I'm doing. And we tell our guys all the time, a win, a loss, nothing is going to define you. It's going to be what you do after that, and how you are as a student, as a son, a father, grandfather, uncle, whatever it may be, and into your profession. That's what's going to define you. So, figure out who you are, what you stand for, and you always got to lead with that, because the wins and losses are going to happen. You're going to, and like I said, I kind of backtrack. I learned a long time ago, the losses are going to happen. You're not going to win them all. And I think the quicker you realize that, the better off you're going to be in anything. And whether it's business, you're not going to always get that sale. You're not always going to, you're going to get people leaving you, and your marriages, your relationships, you're going to have people in and out of your life. So it's about adapting and adjusting and moving forward, and staying true to yourself, I think, is the biggest thing.
What would middle-aged Ryan Hodges right now tell the 16-year-old that was getting ready to face? Oh, they're saying, "Oh, you're old, right? You're like 50."
No, I'm not.
I'm kidding. No. Okay. In all seriousness, what would Ryan Hodges today say to the 16-year-old Ryan Hodges was getting ready to battle all this adversity?
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a pretty rhetorical. I'm just teasing.
No, I don't know. I think that again, just stay true to yourself, and don't ever, don't chase too much of the quote unquote glory. Maybe I always call it the shine a little bit, the shine of baseball, being the guy or whatever. And I never really was, but maybe take some steps back and take care of my body a little bit better, and just my mind a little bit better, and try to learn a little bit more early to set myself up, and maybe take some more chances, especially in my early coaching career, take more chances about, getting my name out there, and maybe not hold that back a little bit, because I've kind of been that way somewhat, as holding myself back early on, getting my name out there. Now I just, if I feel comfortable and confident in a situation, I'm going to go for it. And, if I'm the guy to get it, I am. If I'm not, I move on. I'm not going to dwell on it.
How did you get past that? Because sometimes that's a very tough step, is getting rid of the selfish or the dwelling on things. You know what I mean? It's tough to overcome that sometimes. Whether it's us being older men with our wives that are sometimes stubborn, or it's with our athletes sometimes.
again, it's about trusting yourself and being authentic and not, you know, I tell the guys all the time on the baseball team, and I tell people in general, I don't know everything. I'm not going to know everything. So if you ask me, I'm not going to feel like I have to tell you something that you're not going to believe, or that I'm trying to get you to believe something that I don't know. I don't want to look. I can make myself look like an idiot. You know, I don't need anybody else to do that for me. You know, so I think just it's relationships, man. I mean, I think it all comes down to that. I mean, I think that at the end of the day, you have to look at it and say, you know, when you're on your deathbed, do you want one person there that might be your wife, or do you want a lot of people that are reaching out and maybe coming and seeing you? And you know, I get no greater joy than just getting a text message from a former player, whether I coached that kid a year or I coached him for 5 years through high school, whatever the case may be. And even the relationships that I've built, you know, against opponents and the coaching with the coaches, the camaraderie, the players that I've coached against. I love all that. And I think that you see some people that you either worked with or you kind of keep an eye on from afar that you're like, man, I don't want to end up like that guy. You know, I think that really kind of hits home. You know, you and I have talked about that. We know those guys. So yeah. I want to be known as a good dude that, you know, cared for their players, cared for the coaching staff, and, you know, taught the game the right way, players played the game the right way. I'll be the first person to jump our guys if they don't, and if they're trying to show up another team. And that's not me. You know, I don't want to do that stuff. So even in life, you know, you don't want to be known for that.
Yeah, you know, being able to look at yourself in the eye and being okay with it is it's extremely important, because it is what it is. My daughter is standing right beside me. I have no idea what she wants. Do you want her to come say hey? What do you need?
Yeah.
What do you need? I can't hear her. Hang on a second. Sorry, you just keep talking.
Hey,
all right.
Well, I'm going to ask you some questions here in a little bit.
All right, sounds good. My show, why?
Well, I don't know if it is anything.
That's why you got to live live.
When I was driving home, there was a big black figure in Peyton's window.
Okay, I'll be up in a minute.
Cannot go out.
Yeah,
social distancing.
Yeah, social distancing at its finest. Have you experienced, you know, working from home, where you're trying to Zoom with somebody and you're like, wow, it's crazy.
Oh,
Your kids come in the middle of it or whatever. It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's been some embarrassing things going on lately. It looks like on the internet with Zoom stuff. So that's why I kind of keep looking in my background to make sure nothing's popping up.
And folks, I'll tell you that you know, Coach Hodges is wearing pants. Okay.
How do you know that?
Well, I hope, right? Did you see that on Facebook where that guy was, you know, he got up and he didn't know that he wasn't off the Zoom or whatever, and he's walking around. He was, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's important, folks. You know, this is probably one of the most important aspects with Zoom. And we're talking late. It's like 10:23 p.m. I know it's late, coaches, but I appreciate you guys, you know, listening or whatever. But, you know, it's kind of funny. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a night owl. I don't require a lot of sleep, but obviously I'm ugly, so I don't. It's not beauty sleep, but
yeah.
Okay, so hey, you've been drilling me with questions. So, you know, outside of the coaching world, how did you get into the paranormal? How did you get into the paranormal studies? Seriously, I want to know.
Oh man, this is the coach show. This isn't that aspect, right?
It. No, I know, but you just told me we're going to start talking.
Yeah.
I mean that because the thing is, it's about growing as a person, not necessarily. So I'm sure that's helped you grow as a coach. So you have to bring them all together. You know what I mean? So how have you? I guess let me ask you this: how have you been able to juggle your coaching, your education, you know, in the education field as a teacher, writing books, all the paranormal stuff? How do you keep that all together?
It's it's kind of a hot mess, you know, to say the least. But you know, I as a kid, you know, I experienced some things, and you know, I couldn't quite understand it. You know, my first book, Paranormal Experiences: Death, the Final Frontier. Half the book was about my father. You know, that passed away almost 10 years. You know, it'll be 10 years April 30th, and you know, it just kind of led me on that road, and I kind of got off that beaten path when you talk about your Christian faith, and then boom, I'm now back to it, if that makes any sense. So I'm kind of pushing away from that aspect as far as going out and doing paranormal investigating. But I still speak at some of some conventions, this, that, and the other, but mainly for book purposes.
See, that's what I'm saying. You as a coach, you've got to show your student athletes how you grow as an individual, what you kind of let them in on your life. So I mean, I'm sure that's been kind of a whirlwind for you.
Yeah, it's something that when you doubt your faith, when you doubt who you are, when you show any doubt, or you're not your authentic self, it has a tendency to really dig its claws into you, and it can cause animosity and different with different scenarios and situations. And when I was able to solidify my faith again, and really start to hone in on who I am as far as prayer and that sort of stuff, Ryan, my life came full circle again. The relationships with my family, my wife, my fellow coaches, my desire to be the very best teacher or coach or educator or whatever that I can possibly be, came out of that. But I had some dark times, about 3.5 years, when you're talking about dabbling into something that you shouldn't dabble into, and you're not your authentic self, and it draws you in. It was very addictive. Does that make sense? It took time away from my family, took time away from my progress as a human being. And frankly, I've never been better. When it talks about that situation. Now I do help families that feel that they have issues, whether it's different spirits in the home or negativity. I always do that for free. I still do that, but it's different than the addictive allure that is that component.
Well, good. So what about so now going back, switching gears to the coaching side. Mm-hmm. I've briefly talked about this, and, you kind of started out this coaching culture in athletics, and, probably when you first started, you probably had a few doubts, right? What am I doing? What am I trying to get into? What if this doesn't take? And obviously it has. I mean, you've watched this, and you and I have talked about it from the early stages, but and the things you're doing is awesome. So, take me through some of that. What is if you had to talk to yourself right now, back then, what would you tell yourself? And to get yourself even going more, or what would you change, or kind of take us through that a little bit?
This dream or this aspect, frankly, I was tired about the direction that athletics was taking in the United States or around the world for that matter. Whether it's the angry parent, whether it's the coach that's a jerk, whether it's it's a community that doesn't have a coach's back when the coach has the best interest at heart, whether it's these guys that constantly scream and argue and gripe and moan, and see, I kept it clean, even though we're past 10 o'clock. I still kept it clean, folks. But
10:31, 10:31.
Yeah.
That's the key. We've got to get to that.
Yeah.
We can get all dirty.
Frankly, it's something that I'm very passionate about, because I think that all young children should be able to walk into an environment that does not foster negativity, or it does not foster that, oh, honey, you're the best player. You're going to go in the major leagues, and you're like sixth grade. I mean, come on, let's be rational. I do feel that kids should have fun. Anytime that they're playing sports. Even through high school, even into college, if you don't have the love, the passion, and the determination to do something, then you know what, you've lost that edge. And I saw that in my oldest daughter. Okay, I pushed her, I pushed, and I was that parent that griped and moaned, and I would yell at the official. I remember, as a matter of fact, one time we were up at Iowa City, and I was sitting beside Coach Moore, and I was screaming at that official because I thought that frankly, I was 300 feet away from the call, so I knew what was going on. Just like every other Tom, Dick, and Harry, that's doing these things, and
Right.
and Jeff got thrown out of the game, so I got up and left with him, okay, because it was actually on me. And when you see that person, right, and then my son comes around, he plays football, didn't like it. But he was big into music, and you know what? I still love him the same way that I love my oldest child or my youngest child, whatever. It's the love doesn't change. As a football coach, I would have loved my son to play football, but I was very proud to see him on stage doing what he loved. I was not like that with my first child, and you know what? I want to share my experiences and things that I'm passionate about. I had coaches that ruined my son from playing baseball because of the negativity in T-ball, Ryan. And I'm not going to mention the names of the coaches because that doesn't matter. It's all water under the bridge, right? It's all water under the bridge, much like when I was, used to yell at the officials. It's water under the bridge now, right? So anyway, I wanted to attack something like the mad culture present in athletics today, and it is a cancer on society, folks. What is going on? And I just wanted to create that opportunity for a conversation. So I was writing a book, and you know what? I thought, I should. I've podcast in the past. I've been doing this for a long time. Why not start something? Start an initiative that could change the lives. And I one of my big things in my organization or my book is I want to change the tone of society one soul at a time. You know what? Too often we as coaches, we as educators, we tend to get bogged down on the negativity of things. And then it takes one email, one phone call, one statement, whether it's you're at Hy-Vee and they say how much you mean to them, and then you light up, right? So I want to be a light in a dark situation or the dark state. And you look at the coronavirus, you look at the canceling of seasons, this, that, and the other. I ache for these kids that are going to miss out on, some of them on their senior season. Some of them will never again, be able to participate, this, that, and the other. So I ache for them. And, this just gives us an opportunity to have that conversation, to bring coaches on, because honestly, we're constantly learning, right, Coach? I mean, all the time. And, I've just been blessed. We started this thing in June. We're over 1,000 likes on Facebook. I think we're about almost 1,050 follows. Our Twitter account's growing each and every day. I think we're over 800. We have a lot of great coaches, Coach Doherty, Coach Bryant, Coach Swanson, Coach Kosrich, you, Coach Hodges, and myself. We put together, a top tier staff to be around. Now, I got to get some female coaches in the mix. So if there's any female coaches out there that are willing or interested in joining this thing, just reach out. We'll get you on the show. We'll and this, that, and the other, because this isn't just a football, a baseball, a soccer, a basketball or a wrestling thing. This is a coaching thing. Coaching culture in athletics was created to create a positive, conducive, open, safe environment where we could talk about these questions. And again, Coach, if we can save one soul at a time, we've done our job.
Absolutely. That's our motto is one game win streaks. You don't have to. I think too many times you put that carrot's too far out there, and you try to. And you have to have that, obviously. Don't get me wrong, but if you get too wrapped up into it, you got issues, and it's not all about the. Coaching and athletics is so much materialistic, and when you stop thinking about that or stop pursuing that, and you're pursuing the hearts of the people that you're working with, whether it be your coaching staff, your players, your families of the players, that's where you start to, because you're creating these guys for life. Hopefully, as a coach, you are just an extension of what mom and dad are teaching at home or talking about at home. But we've all been in those cases that we know that's not true. So a lot of times you are the dad. I've had guys come up to me that I've lost a former player due to a car accident. Heartbreaking, something that if I could trade places with him, I would. He had such a bright future. So heartbreaking. But that kid, and I've talked about this. I impacted him, I know, but I feel guilty because I never got the chance to tell him how much he impacted me.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about that, and we're going to talk about it in the book a little bit. But so I think that's the big thing for coaching too. Is sometimes you have to step outside yourself to allow these people in, and they can really impact you. I could go on and on with some stories with how guys have impacted me and athletes, whether it be coaching football, track, baseball at the high school and college level. But you're absolutely right. You got to do that one soul at a time, one game win streaks, however you want to look at it. And it's just once you affect that one person, the next person does, and the next person, you can kind of keep going and going and going. And you mentioned something there about being, kind of hurting for everybody right now, not being able to do, their senior year and stuff. And kind of like I've told our seniors even too, again, don't let this moment define you. You've done some great things. I mean, nobody's ever going to take that state championship away from you. Nobody's ever going to take away the fact that you guys were a part of something that people didn't even count us in doing. And then you're going to do a lot more than just what your senior year involves. So don't get wrapped up in that senior year. Be thinking about trying to think of how can I use this time to help me grow and propel me into what I'm going to in college or out into the workforce or whatever the case may be. So, that's what I'm doing. And I hope that's a lot of people, doing. I'm trying to find even more of myself. And I honestly, I love this fact that I'm able to work at home, and do stuff just because, I miss some of the, a lot of the coworkers and the students, obviously, but, and my kids probably need a little bit of a break from me, but It's nice being able to be home and especially having young kids to be able to go outside with them. I mean, from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed, we're outside, and that's great. Those are memories, and so, although it's a tough situation, it's something that you can take and have a positive out of too, I think. So
100%. And, you got me off on the tangent and we're about up with our 45 minutes. So that's crazy. We're going to obviously going to have to do this a little bit earlier in the evening, Ryan. It looks like
that's my fault.
I know. It's kind of mine too because I thought we would go after our West Coast thing. But what was interesting is the numbers, man. At the beginning, it was like going up, like, and then they go down and up. It was like the stock market. I don't know.
I don't watch that. Let's stop talking about the stock market. I just got my statement back the other day.
Man,
let's not talk about it.
All right. Hey, let's call it a night here, folks. You've been listening to the Coach Hodge and Bank Show on the Coaching Culture in Athletics Radio Broadcast Network.